The Prime Minister's speech last evening on India. India is firing full cylinders. Looking at in your CI capacity and as the chairman of ITC, since you have a deep understanding of businesses, do you think 6 to 7% GDP growth for next couple of years is something which is not impossible, and it is something which is entirely possible and conceivable?
So first of all, thank you, Nikunj, for having me here. Yes, I think this is eminently possible. I think that's the kind of number we should be aiming for at the minimum. You see, growing at 7%, which is what is the estimate for the year and beyond this year, at a time when the whole world is struggling, when the global growth is the least in a long period, global trade is significantly lower than what it used to be at that time itself. We're growing at 7%. I think it's quite a commendable achievement, and that certainly gives us the confidence. And the confidence is not emanating, I think, just from numbers. The business confidence is not coming just by these GDP numbers. It is reflected in even the various CII surveys that have been happening with the business leaders on capacity utilization and confidence and so on and so forth. And, this is so because of this very strong foundation that is getting built over several years. A lot of very purposeful policy interventions have happened. If you look at the macros, our inflation, for example, is very well managed. There was a time when we had higher inflation than the developed economies. Today it's the reverse. That talks a lot about the astute management of the macros in the economy, the public infrastructure, digital infrastructure, the investments and the incentives to make India into a manufacturing hub. I think all these augur well for the future. There's also focus on the agriculture sector, the FPO, bringing technology. This budget talked about specific sectoral focused. Now focus is being brought in onto innovation. I think India is anyway a powerhouse of services, and we do have a demographic advantage. G20 has elevated India's stature in the new geopolitical dynamic. India is the center of attraction. It's very important from a supply chain diversification, and it's only India that has the talent and the competitive operating ecosystem and the scale to be able to provide that kind of supply chain diversification. We know that, we have a lot of tourism assets. That's the new vector that we see from a policy perspective that is going to be pursued. And we do see in the budget and whatever the Honorable Prime Minister also said yesterday, that the commitment to making the policy framework better, dealing with some bigger ticket issues, the commitment and the intent is very much there. So I think, considering all of this, I think it's a very good time for India. It's certainly India's decade and probably even beyond that. So I see no reason why we should not be growing at least that number.